And tonight, if you go out for a beer, you go out for a glass of wine, remember one thing I've talked about tonight and talk it over with a friend so that there's a ripple effect. If you're having breakfast, talk it over with coffee. If you're talking to somebody at lunch, mention it, because all of this has to be tested by all of you. The bikes New Deal. FDR did a good thing for the country when there was a depression and so much unemployment. 1933 to 1941, he had FDR's New Deal. He employed a lot of people, built a lot of schools, a lot of post offices, even supported a lot of the arts, but the majority of the money was spent on 650,000 roads and 780,000 bridges. He was building a very necessary transportation system for the country. Now, with the Bikes New Deal, we have to address new issues: climate change, obesity, social inequalities, and also injury. The Bikes New Deal was very auto-centric, and at the time it served purposes, but right now it's a raw deal for the bikes. The Bikes New Deal is going to be bike-centric. So I want you to think completely differently. Put the bike first. Put the bike before everything else. Bike first, and imagine a world where the bike does come first. The Bikes New Deal has 6 themes. Again, this is very brand new. Rider, technologies, the route, destination, the car, we're still going to have the car, and building certifications. Let's look at 5 of the ideas under the themes. A climate change cycle track, a bike bus, safe routes to play, bicycle destinations, and bike green lead rewards. Climate change cycle tracks. It's a brand new way to address climate change and could be very responsive both for mitigation and adaptation. First of all, wide cycle tracks. I call them date-night cycle tracks or social cycle tracks. A parent can bicycle beside a child, a date beside a date, a friend beside a friend. You get to walk side by side on the sidewalk. You get to be side by side on the bus or mess or the cars. Why can't we have bicyclists bike side by side? It's not as if bicyclists don't have any friends. They have to be one behind the other and shout to the other. So side by side bicycling on wide cycle tracks. Solar lighting. Power goes out. Katrina, Sandy, Fukushima, power goes out. So think always of adaptation when that power is gone, because there is a weather disaster. Now you might think, oh gosh, she's got shaded trees and canopies and she's going to put solar lighting in. Put the solar lighting up on the rooftops of the adjacent buildings, and that power then comes down and ignites the cycle track. One key thing about this solar lighting, it's not going to make you look green and ghoulish. Instead, what it's going to make you look really attractive, like the really expensive restaurant where you want to be. So you look 10 years younger on the cycle track because the lighting is so phenomenal. So also, bike cages, no swipe card, because if the power's gone, you won't be able to swipe the cage. Permeable surface so the water goes through. Next slide. Bike bus. Next slide. The bus has been a loser cruiser. We don't really want to ride the bus in certain cities. So in this case, it's going to be cool to ride the bus because it's going to be a cool cruiser because it's going to have bicyclists. Not the 2 bikes on the front. You won't ride that because the bike racks are full, not the bike inside. Instead, clear out everything in the bus. It's only the bicyclists getting on with their bikes. In Cuba, in the middle, the tunnel they had to go through. So how did they get through the tunnel? They cleaned out the bikes, they cleaned out the bus, put a ramp up the back, got inside, rode through the tunnel, and then went out the front. So this works because it's a little bit more like a ferry. You've got a large catchment area because the bicyclists can go far to go to the port for the ferry, and then you go over bridges, you go under tunnels, you go on bus rapid transit lanes. Safe routes to play. Next slide. We've done a lot with safe routes to school. The problem is the kids are walking. Kids, if they walk, have lower cardiovascular and physical fitness. We want them to bike, but they've got to have their own network, not just sidewalks. Therefore, this is Paris. Wide cycle track, bushes, trees, lots of visible connection to see the kids. Bike through the buildings, bike under the roads, have the kids be able to bike, but also have really signature bicycle signals, not in green, yellow, and red bicycle signal as we're proposing in the U.S. have a countdown number in the middle similar to pedestrian signals. So you get a red bicycle at the top and a red countdown number in the middle, and it tells you 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, pedal up in yourself, and you're like a horse out of the gate. The kids that get to the intersection, they see a green light going through the intersection. Next slide. Bicycle destinations. We've done this for highways. We know how far you're going to drive before you need gas, you need to go to the bathroom, you need to get something to eat. Do the same thing based on the person who is bicycling. How often do they need water? How often do they need food? How often do they want to have a cup of coffee? Because bicyclists like coffee. What's really key about it is wayfinding. We don't want to have litter on a stick, a lot of billboards saying, hawking bikers come over and buy my coffee. Instead, we can put little symbols on the road, a little ice cream cone, and you know, go that way and you get ice cream, go this way and you get coffee, go this way and you get a bathroom. Put a stencil on the road and then we're done. Next slide. That's that last title, number 5. Bike, green, lead, rewards. There we go. How many of you have looked at architectural renderings? Next time you do that, I want you to do a task. I want you to count how many pedestrians are in that architectural rendering. I want you to count how many cars are in that architectural rendering. I want you to count how many bikes are in that architectural rendering. And I'll tell you, by and large, it's 0. Maybe they will have taken clip art bike and they'll sort of stuck it in the picture that its bike's crooked. And if you follow their trajectory, they're going to run into the curb of the other car because they thought, oh shit, I got to stick a bike in there. So all of our architectural renderings are devoid of bicyclists. And we continue to build really wide sidewalks. That's because Congressman New Urbanism loves walking and doesn't really love biking, even though they say they like biking. They now have in LEED ND 12 mandatory points for putting in walking environments. The bike environments, you get 2 points. You can put a bad bike ramp out in the rain, and you get a point, but it's voluntary. You can put a bad shower down in the basement, you get 1 point, but it's voluntary. Think of the building as an octopus. The head of the building, the head of the octopus is the building itself, where you've got HVAC, low E class, you've got half-flush toilets. For your green footprint, the tentacles of the octopus are just as important, if not more important. You're driving an hour to get to that office, no footprint. So instead, design the tentacles as importantly as that half-flush toilet. Have the wide cycle tracks so the parents can bike to the apartments, to the houses, to the offices. Have biking so seniors can get there. Have apartment complexes so that you can park your bike inside. Have offices. We have CEO car parking. Have CEO bike parking. Have wide cycle tracks. Last slide. I want to thank all of you. Remember, you have a task, either tonight or tomorrow morning or tomorrow at lunch. Remember one thing and talk it over with somebody else, because this is all brand new and I really appreciate